we're live.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Holocron Transmissions. This is our spoiler review of Star Wars Rogue One, a Star Wars story. And we have a big group of people here today. We have my co-host, of course, Nick. And
Hello,
also
everyone.
And also, too, we have someone else here named Omadon. Say hi.
Yo.
So today we are going to be reviewing the new Star Wars film, giving our opinions, our ratings, and our overall thoughts of the film. And remember, it's the spoilers, so if you don't want to be spoiled, go watch our non-spoiler review on our channel. So,
Come on, let's spoil them.
So let's go to Nick over here first. I want to see what your thoughts on the film for now before we go into the full depth review. What do you thought of it?
My thoughts, it was a brilliant Star Wars film. It's a Star Wars film that we have all wanted because it shows us how the Rebels got the Death Star plans, of course, and it never explained how the Rebels got the Death Star plans in Star Wars Episode 4, New Hope. And I really loved the CGI work on it. Tarkin was excellent. There was a wee bit miscarried away with Princess Leia, which I didn't like, but we'll get into that in our full review here very soon.
All right, lovely. And Omadon, what was your opinions?
A fantastic entrance into the lore of Star Wars. This is what we wanted from The Force Awakens that we never got. We got Mary Sue, Force Awakens. This one actually gives us a lot more depth into the lore, gives us characters, mind you, not caricatures, that you could actually follow and understand their emotions and actually see that they have emotion, and actually gives us a little bit more of the expansion into the Star Wars universe that we've wanted to see.
Very nice, very nice.
Very nice indeed.
For me, I really enjoyed the film a lot. I have my problems here and there, and we'll get into them once we get into our full-on review. But I would say, though, my overall thoughts right now is I'm very happy with it, more happy than negative with it, and I think it did a lot better in some categories than Force Awakens, but I think Force Awakens did a little bit better with some other categories than Rogue One. So now we'll go into the full review. Nick, do you want to start it off and then we can
Yeah, sure.
interject?
So,
Okay.
Star Wars Rogue One is based around a war story that we have not seen in the Star Wars universe before. And basically, what I really liked about this film is the characters. The character development on this film was really well done by the director. I really love KS2O, of course. He's like the comedy guy of this movie.
K2SO.
Oh, K2SO, my bad, sorry.
We've actually had these stories before, but they've never been in the films.
Yeah.
Very true.
Also, I really loved about how he just whacks the guy on the head and he just knocks him out right away when they're stealing the Death Star plans, and his reflexes are incredible. I'm gonna say that. So.
Now I will say the characters like Chirrut, Baze Madness, I love them. Love K2SO. I love those characters a lot. I love Krennic too. Love Krennic.
Oh yeah, same.
But I will say though, I wish they give them more screen time to develop their characters more, and I think they did. But because the reshoots, and you can tell because if you watch lots of the trailer footage, lots of that is cut out. So I think lots of their character development was cut out due to the changes into the film.
But I think those will be... Sorry about that. I think that these will be in a deleted scene, of course, when we get the full Blu-ray and DVD release.
Of course.
Honestly, I think that because the running time of the movie was like 2 hours, 13 minutes. If they had raised it to 2 hours, 30 minutes, I think we would... and give us a little bit more character development, it would have been even better. But I can even with what they gave us, there was far more character development we got with that than the entirety of fucking Force Awakens.
What's your thoughts on that, Nick?
I would agree there as well because, you know, these are new characters that we have not seen in the Star Wars universe, and I really...
I think we also
been... There we go.
Yeah.
Nick.
Nick, you're cutting out on us. But basically, though, once Nick gets his stuff done here, he'll come back on because Nick, your audio is getting messed up here. Okay, are we back?
I think so. Can you hear me?
Oh, there we,
All right.
yeah, we can hear you.
Continue your thought.
All right. So, of course, as we all know, that Darth Vader was only in it for 5 minutes. And
Mhm.
I feel like Darth Vader should have more time on the film than any
Actually,
other
I disagree
character.
with that.
Really?
Yeah, I'm of the school of thought when you have a character like him, less is more, and it wasn't the Darth Vader show. It was the rebel plans, and the parts that you had him in were powerful enough on their own. The part with Krennic is you giving the agency of Krennic. He has his back against the wall. You know, he tries to go over Tarkin's head and cannot succeed with that. And the last time you see Vader is where he's importantly needed to chase down the rebel plans.
Yes, to
Yes.
destroy the Death Star.
And
But
come
I
on,
will.
we were given an awesome scene there with him
I would
chasing
agree
those
with you.
poor soldiers.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like how he's throwing
yes.
them up into the air, pushing them about, and just going rage at them.
Yes, I love that scene with Vader, but I will say that I wish we had at least one more scene, just one more scene to satisfy my Vader crunch. It didn't need to be a long scene, just one more scene, and I'll be satisfied. Now, I do want to talk about the ending, but we can wait to get to the ending until after we talk about everything else.
Yes.
I love the cameos in the film. I didn't love all of them, like Pigface. You didn't need that there, but lots of great cameos in here and whatnot, especially too by Bail Organa. I love Bail Organa, and that's the one other thing too I love about this film more than Force Awakens. I felt like it cared more about the overall Star Wars. It
Yes.
cared about the original trilogy, prequel trilogy, and all of the expanded universe stuff. It cared about everything in Star Wars besides focusing just on the original trilogy.
Cameos didn't feel forced in.
The only one that felt forced to me was Pigface.
Yeah. That was more of just like a joke that those guys.
Yeah, I would agree with you
Yeah.
guys there.
But
also too.
none of the others were like forced in there.
No, they weren't. Besides, Bail Organa, when he first showed up, I really didn't like how they did his. Like the first time you saw him, it felt too like a portent type of thing. You didn't. It felt
Right.
awkward to me. But the planets were great. Jedha, all the new. We got
Yes.
Jedha. I'm trying to think of the names here.
Christopher
Jedha,
we got as well because that's a planet
Christopher.
where has actually
Yes.
been confirmed. So
We had the mining prison camp on what was that planet that Ray was on that Jen Urso was on. We had the planet that her family was farming on in the beginning.
Yep.
We also had the station, the information station planet that they were using. What was that planet called? You know the one I'm talking about, the end finale planet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember what it's called. Edu? I think it's called
Edu, I think it's called,
Yeah.
And then we also let's not forget we also had a great throwback to Yavin and the fourth moon of Yavin, Yavin 4 in the Massassi temples.
Yep.
Who didn't love returning to those grand Massassi temples?
Oh yeah, that was great. And like I said, there's lots of other stuff I love. Like Gan Urso was great. The whole thing about the prot thread, the prot hole, some people call it, with the whole Death Star with this exhaust port was now answered and revealed to
Yes.
us, which was great. And there's also other great things about the film as well. I can go on to them for hours and whatnot.
Yeah.
But the main thing I can go into right now, though, is the last 14 minutes of this film made the film for me. It was 100% great. I love everything about the film in the last 40 minutes. No complaints whatsoever. The spaceship battle was fucking
Yeah.
awesome.
I would agree with you there.
Yes.
Yeah, and the land battle was great, and the whole thing of Darth Vader and how they ending it and tie it up together.
And I also
Yes.
liked as well how in Star Wars Rebels we're gonna see the Ghost crew actually stealing like the shark kind of ships. I forgot what they're called, but you know the
You're
Hammerheads,
talking about the Hammerhead Corvettes.
yeah.
Those were actually given to him by Princess Leia during the Rebels show, and those are
Yep.
actually Clone Wars ships. Also, if you noticed when the ships came out of hyperspace and were to confront full out combat, if you noticed under the Mon Calamari command ship, the Ghost was under it.
Yes, I did notice that
Yep.
Easter egg as well.
Yeah, so as I said, ending was real amazing, and I love it too how everyone died. Everyone died. I love
Made
it.
perfect sense for that because there was not going to be an escape. They knew they were on a doomed mission.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. And I also like the fact as well how we get to see Donnie Yang's character saying, "I'm one with the Force, and the Force is with me," and he's like dodging through all these bullets and all that stuff. And I wish he just had a lightsaber. I wish he had a lightsaber.
Well, here's the thing, Donnie. When you're looking at Donnie Yen's character, he's part of a kind of a zealot faction and he was an ex-temple guard of that old temple. What he wasn't a Jedi. He was a Force sensitive. You can definitely tell there was some Force sensitivity.
He was part of the Journey of the Wills. He was one of the caretakers of the temple.
Yes, they were before the Empire took over. Yeah, he was one of those, and then back into being a beggar on the street type of thing. But the thing is there was Force sensitivity with him, but there's a lack of training. He just trusted in the Force, which made perfect sense for why he was able to do things like blast, hit with his blaster bolt and his cane, which was great.
Yeah, his character's name is Chirrut too.
Yeah, Chirrut. Cherubs. I forgot the last part of it. Cherub something. But
Yeah,
his character was phenomenal. It was very much a throwback to me for. I don't know if you guys know old Japanese films. The Zatoichi series.
Nope.
I have never heard of that.
Zatoichi was the blind swordsman. He was basically a masseuse, but he was also feared by Yakuza and everything because he was an expert swordsman. He was a blind man. And so it was very much reminiscent of that to me. And the first time you see him just whack the crap out of the stormtroopers is great.
I know it's a plus too. I really like the fact as well, KS2, we get to see his character has great reflexes.
Oh yeah.
Well.
He's got an exact, and the way his reflexes are, they're very exacting, like a droid would be. I have to laugh. Those of you who are fans of like Knights of the Old Republic games will remember HK-47, the assassin droid.
Okay, don't compare him to HK-47.
No, I'm not. I'm
HK.
saying I know he's not HK. I'm saying for the longest time, HK-47 has been my favorite droid in the Star Wars universe. Now he's beaten out by K2SO because K2SO he's every type of bitching that you would have from 3PO, but with less of the pussification.
Exactly.
He's a great droid. And our topic I want to talk about too is the CGI Leia and Tarkin. I think they were done very well, amazingly well.
Oh yes, I would agree there.
In fact, the actor who played Tarkin under the CGI?
As a Rebels actor for Tarkin as well.
No, I'm saying
we're talking about the person who was the actual.
Oh right,
who was the
yeah.
actual voice and the person under the CG face. is actually was actually in the last couple of Harry Potter movies. He was one of the Ministry. You could tell him he's the tall one in the Ministry.
Yeah. So now I want
forget
to
the
go.
actor's name, but he has his face is very angry. Not pronounced cheeks like that, but he actually speaks in the same type of lip movements that you would have. What's the name of the guy who does Tarkin? Why am I blanking out on names? But he had a very similar speaking pattern, everything, which made it add to the realism of Tarkin when animating over him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So now I want to go into though some of our like complaints, like some of the stuff that we have, like our faults with all of our films. So we'll first start with Nick on this. Nick, please tell us what are some of your ideas you think, or some of your thoughts on some of the bad parts of Rogue One.
Now, of course, I didn't like the way that they done Princess Leia and the CGI. It was just, I don't know, it just seems off to me for some reason. But everything else, like the Target CGI, was just done perfectly. They captured the original, trilogy, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just the only problem that I have. I mean, I wish one of the members, like Donnie Yang's character, survived and, bring into Rogue One, like his character goes into Star Wars Rebels. Like, continues.
But other than that, though, no other complaints for you?
No other complaints.
All right, what about you, Omadan?
One complaint I will say, and it was probably like due to editing time and such, a little bit more with the probing of the defector's mind by that tentacle beast.
Mm-hmm.
I feel that there was stuff that was kind of cut short from that scene, because it would have been interesting to see like how far Forrest Whitaker's character actually had fallen down his path to just being almost as vicious as the Empire is with interrogation.
Oh yeah, definitely for sure. Now, I got more problems than you guys have, but it's not too much. I would say the title, how they do the opening and the title of Rogue One, I hate how they did that. I hate how they did that.
Probably what I had as well with it.
I would have said if they had made the title look like the Star Wars lettering, it would have been better.
Mm-hmm. Oh, way much more better. Or had they put on the poster, that would have been fine as well. I've been perfectly okay with that. But no, they did in such a weird and awkward way, and I wish they didn't had a long time ago in Galaxy Far, Far Away. I wish they just opened it up after the Lucasfilm logo, because it makes it very jarring. And there are problems, like I said, I said this before in here. I wish we had a little bit more character from it. I wish like the mid-act was like, I think it was mostly in the beginning. Like, it was in the beginning and in the middle.
I wish the middle act was a little bit longer.
Well, that, and also too, I would say less boring. I was not too bored by it, but I definitely say it could have been more action-packed. Like I said, more character development a bit. Also too, I won't say this is the best Star Wars score ever. I wish the score was done a bit better. But from listening to it by itself and knowing the themes, I am liking it a lot more. But this will still be my lowest ranking Star Wars score. But that's not a bad thing. But it's still my lowest ranking Star Wars score. But like I said, out of any Star Wars score, there's always that one song. And for me, it's Krennic's theme that I remember the most.
Is that even out of the games and the television series?
Nope, only in the films.
Okay.
Only in the films.
That's fair enough, because this is the only one we've had without
John
that
Williams.
wasn't made by John Williams.
Yeah. And other than that, though, that's literally my only complaints. Besides having, they cut out my favorite shot in the trailers where Krennic was walking through the water with his cape in the background throwing. I wish they still kept that shot in, but I think that was due to the reshoots, because I remember that Jyn, Erso, and Cassian the captain, were like running through the beach and whatnot, and there's this photo of Krennic in the water pointing out his blaster to them and whatnot. I think we would have had much more of a personal conflict with them than what we got in the film. But those are literally my only big complaints with the film. Maybe I might have some more when I rewatch it some more, or maybe I might have some less when I rewatch it some more. But other than that, that's about it. Is there anything else we want to talk about? Like anything we have on top of our heads at the moment?
Well, let's talk about the first time we actually have in the films, not in games, not in comics, not in concept art, but in the films, we get to see Vader's palace.
Or castle.
Yeah.
Yes. It's the first time we've gotten to see the fortress that was his palace.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was always that was one of the fan things that I've always wanted to see.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
always like a dark, and you've seen it in games. You've seen it in like Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy, but you never got to see it in film.
Oh yeah.
And that was something grand to behold.
Oh yeah, it was wonderful seeing that. So much wonderful and all of that. Before we go into our final rating and whatnot, I have one more big question to ask too. Which film out of the new Star Wars films is better so far in your opinion? Force Awakens or Rogue One, Nick?
I would say Rogue One.
Omadon?
Rogue One, by all accounts, is far superior.
I still can't say for myself which one is better yet. Because I still think Rogue One did some stuff better than Rogue One, but I think Rogue One did lots more stuff better than Force Awakens, especially too in the special effects department. The ships look amazing, the sets look more amazing. Oh my gosh, it looks so realistic to me. They were so well done. So well done.
Before we go to closing, I think there's one thing we should talk about.
All right, what would that be?
Not just with like the explanation of the failsafe set in the Death Star for systematic chain reaction, but let's also talk about the scene where the Rebel Alliance is arguing, and you're having faction disenfranchisement within their own factions, basically reducing their numbers tremendously because now it makes things worse for them, and the ones that go off in the faction, you feel like something's they're going to get silenced because of this group basically causing the rest of the faction to go into the first all-out war with the Empire. Now, here's the funny thing. Before the ending of the movie, they had never had a full-out battle with the Empire. They've had skirmishes of hit and run away. This was
that we know from Rebels.
This is the Rebel Alliance for the first time taking full confrontation and hitting them in the heart of the Empire, within the Empire's main territories in the core worlds, not in the outer rim, but going after them in the mid and core worlds. And information, a vital strategic point, an information station. And
definitely.
On confrontation battle. This could have been something that was used to televise to the Senate to finally silence out any remaining supporters for the Rebel Alliance.
And it did. And it did
by the time you got to Episode 4, A New Hope, when they said there'll be no more problems from the Senate, they've all been silenced. It made perfect sense. Sorry.
So I was to say, in the films, Tarkin says they've all been swept away.
Yes, because if they hadn't been killed off, systematically killed off or bought off, or just intimidate into silence. This basically made they had no leg to stand on. It basically back down. No more opposition, except the ones that stayed with the rebel faction. They are on their own. And that was the beauty of tying that into that statement, because that's a powerful statement. They had basically not only gotten the plans to destroy the super weapon, but at the same time also shot themselves in the foot from the inner arguments within the rebel alliance. And this was the problem with the Republic. Too many voices arguing with each other. And divide and conquer is what the Empire does.
Yep, I agree. And also, too, I want to talk about the Death Star scenes in here because I got a chance to talk about amazing stuff of Jakku and the ending shot as well. I just love how they did the Death Star in here. They did very well done and very, very respectfully done.
Now, mind you, when they're using the Death Star, they're only using 1/10 of its full capacity. In both situations, they didn't even need to do more. Just by using 1/10, they had not only blown out like a continent-sized crater into the planet, but you had dust going so far up it nearly got them in the outer space, the space beyond the stratosphere. That's how hard that just one portion of that laser could do. They didn't fully use it until they destroyed Alderaan.
Yep, and that's where Tarkin said that was the first test. And I do want to go into final thoughts, but before I do, I think there was one character we didn't talk about yet as well, was Saw Gerrera's character. We didn't talk about him yet, because also fans had a problem with his character in Rogue One. I didn't have a problem with him. I thought he was very good in the film. What do you think, Nick?
I think he was a really great character, and also he's appeared in Rogue One. So if I share my screens real quick, and I'll show you what he looks like. So can you guys see the screen?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Tell me when.
Now we do.
All right, so this is his character for Star Wars Rogue One.
Rebels, you mean?
Rebels, sorry, my bad.
Yeah. Well, we saw him in Clone Wars too. He was actually trained by Anakin how to deal with the Separatist army with guerrilla tactics and everything. Something that he's continued on, and it looks like from Rebels, we're going to see him on the breaking point, and where he's going to split from the rebellion into his own more extremist rebellion.
Yes,
which is what we had on Jakku.
Yeah, and now
Jakku,
the thing is, Jeddah. Now the thing is, I said to Omadon here that he doesn't have his respirator there, or he doesn't look like he's.
Yeah, and that looks like something that's going to happen in the next few years, because. Now, here's the problem I've had with people reviewing. It's like they say it's just like there makes no sense that he stayed there. Actually, it does. He's more machine than anything else. He can't move fast. They need to get out of there. He was basically doing the captain going down with the ship. He's not going to be able to make it to their ship. He's going to slow him down. He is that old soldier that is like he's going to let them survive, so he's going to go down with the ship type of thing. And that's what he did. It's like he was ready to go at that point. And I feel like a lot of people who are bashing this movie just don't seem to understand some of the simple concepts of characters.
Yeah, well, that's to play the devil's advocate there for a second. I do think they could have maybe explained that, saying, like, maybe Saw Gerrera could say something like, I can't go, I can't move. I will be a burden. If I feel like if one of the characters mentions that or something, then people will have not had so much of a harsh time with that.
To be fair, you can kind of tell it with how he moved. He could barely move himself with the bum limbs, and he was constantly having to put the respirator at his mouth. He
Yeah,
couldn't
but you
speak
still
the
get
way
what
he
I'm,
used to either.
but you still get what I'm saying though.
Yes, I understand.
Mm-hmm.
But you can definitely tell this is a guy who's being held together with the stuff that's on him. This guy has seen so much action. It's left his body severely damaging. He doesn't have money for like Kotal tanks are expensive things in Star Wars. For those who want to have hear geeking out things, like Kotal tanks, like most people couldn't afford Kotal tanks. You could afford Kotal shots, which are helpful, but not the best things like a Kotal tank. So you're talking about guys basically most likely just constantly having to put Kotal shots in himself to to deal with some of the pains that his body's in, and just having scrapped together droid parts to keep himself moving about.
Of course. Now, after we talk about everything here, let's get into our final thoughts and rating of the film. Nick?
Well, I'll probably give it a 9 out of 10 because it was really well done. The CGI was just incredible. I loved it, how it's based on a war story, how we see it from the rebellion side, how they're keeping arguing about war, how the Empire is going to destroy them, etc. And I really liked it as well, how Darth Vader appears at the end and kicking rebels' asses.
Anything else, or that's it, Nick?
That's it.
All right, for me, I will, because I've not seen it 2 times yet. I've only seen it once, but just for seeing it once, I think I'm gonna give it a 7.5 out of 10. I really did enjoy this film a lot. The ending is the best part for me. I'm not just talking about the scene with Vader. I'm talking about the whole 40 minutes is the best part for me. I think there's also great characters in here, like Chirrut and Baze Madness and their relationship. I love Krennic as well. K2SO was such a great character, and he's literally the only droid who I love that I want to get every figure of them. He was great. But like I said, though, I did have my problems with some of Rogue One here and there. But overall, though, it was a good, solid film. But I can't yet rank it like from 1 to 10. Well, I mean 1 to 8. In off the main Star Wars films, and I can't say if it's truly better than Force Awakens, but I definitely say that it did lots of things better than Force Awakens, but it did some things not as great as the Force Awakens as well. So that's my thoughts. Now, up to you, Nick. I mean, not Nick, but Omadan.
I'd actually give it a 9 out of 10. It held a lot of the charm of the old Star Wars movies. It kept the score like it felt like its own score, but definitely kept some of the themes of the scores of John Williams and kept to some of that hopeful tone. One thing I love about New Hope, if you listen to the tune that was started with that one, continued on through Empire and Return of the Jedi, there was that tune of hope to it in the score, and even though the scores were changed slightly, you still had that tune of hope. Like even in this darkest hour of this movie, you still had that hope. Also, the effects were well done. They really paid a lot of homages, and for face CGI, we're also forgetting Gold Leader and Red Leader, as well as Blue Leader, and seeing Red 5, the original Red 5, before Luke takes over in Episode 4 for that spot.
Like I said, the original Porkins.
Yeah. Like Joker and I have joked about, it's just like all we needed now was the Force spirit of Porkins to come say, "Come, join me in the Force." Maybe in the next special edition of A New Hope, this guy comes to Porkins like, "Join me, you're doomed."
So I take it as everyone's final thoughts about Rogue One.
It was a phenomenal addition into the franchise, and it really felt like it was far more connected to the franchise than The Force Awakens by far. It felt like a movie with characters and story, and not Mary Sue.
All right.
So anyway, guys, that's basically our spoiler review for Star Wars Rogue One. And before we actually go, we have a big announcement that our podcast is now on SoundCloud. So if you have SoundCloud, you can actually listen to our podcast during, when we upload it on SoundCloud and also our YouTube channel. So, Patrick, would you like to close it off?
Yes, I would like to close out. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Omadon, for being part of our podcast here today. It would be wonderful
problem.
to maybe
Thank you.
see you come back and whatnot.
I
And
enjoyed it.
thank you. And that's our review of Star Wars Rogue One: A Star Story. If you enjoy it, please leave down a comment and whatnot and say what's your thoughts about the film. We love to hear it. We love to comment back to you on that. And please subscribe to see more of Star Wars stuff, from Star Wars Rebels to the films and to the video games and maybe even the music as well. So come subscribe to Holocron Transmissions to get more of our thoughts and opinions and news on all types of Star Wars stuff.
And don't forget, may the Force be with you always.